Let's check in with Turning Point's White House correspondent Monica Paige at the White House. Monica, before the weekend, President Trump, you mentioned, has left. He's going to go to Bedminster. Anything new on Iran that you're seeing? Kind of status quo. What's happening on the front of the biggest story in the world at the moment?
Yeah, so we just saw President Trump leave off the South Lawn, heading to New Jersey for the weekend before coming back here for more security intelligence briefings. But as far as it goes with Iran, we still are kept to this 2 week sort of deadline here, where we'll likely hear about any sort of meetings or conversations or deals, perhaps, whether or not the United States is going to be more involved in this war. And that's still that 2 week deadline. So it could come this weekend, it could come maybe next week at some point during NATO, but we're still definitely keeping an eye on it. No new news, but it's still very much top of mind behind closed doors here at the White House.
Yeah. I know I've said this every day this week, but when when everyone finds out, we'll all find out together. And
Yes.
Speculation only gets you so far. If you want some good nuanced speculation, go watch the Charlie Kirk show. He's going to do it way more in depth than we're going to do it here. But Monica, other big news out of the White House: King Gavin, as I like to call him. Other people call him Governor Newsom, but King Gavin, I think, is affectionately what most people in California like to call the dictator of California. Another big loss in the judicial process. What happened there with the Trump administration and California?
Yeah, huge win for the Trump administration coming out just last night. Ninth Circuit Court in California ruled that President Trump can, in fact, keep the California National Guard in place during these anti-ICE protests that we've seen that have gotten way out of control. It was a three-judge panel, one of them including a Biden-appointed judge, and they all ruled unanimously. I mean, it's a pretty obvious ruling considering the fact that the president should be having power over our federal authorities and anything else that pertains to what's happening throughout the country that needs authority and keeping our law-abiding citizens safe. So this is fantastic news considering the fact that many people were concerned in President Trump's first term when he was kind of trying to figure out whether or not he was going to deploy the National Guard or any sort of federal authorities during the BLM riots back in 2020. And he knew that when he was going to do this again, when it comes to these new protests, that he was going to do it by the books, that he was going to do it the right way. So the fact that this is a huge win for the Trump administration, a huge loss for Gavin Newsom, is always really good news. And I know that Gavin Newsom was posting online that he's still going to fight back against this and he's still going to try and stick it to President Trump. But President Trump has been very clear with his message. You've got to be peaceful about it. It's not about your First
Mhm.
Amendment. It's about being peaceful, not about this rioting that we've been seeing and burning and putting American people at risk, the law abiding citizens at risk. So, huge win. We'll definitely see how this goes playing out moving forward. I don't know if Gavin Newsom's going to try and maybe sue again or try to, rescind this decision. But of course, we'll see how this all plays out because this is only the beginning, Jobob.
Monica, this it's Friday, so this is tawdry and not useful to anything other than my own pure entertainment. The last summer, well, the summers really that President Biden was in office, we saw lots of pictures of him asleep on the beach and waddling around in an outfit that, I don't know, 80-year-old men should not be seen in public. Give me the likelihood that President Trump is going to be photographed dead asleep, shirtless on the beach somewhere routinely throughout this summer.
Negative percent, Joe Bob. I don't know if there's like a negative 100%, but you will definitely not be catching the president in questionable swimwear attire on the beach or stumbling around on the sand. That was quite an embarrassing moment for the country.
For the
Probably like
record,
that.
I didn't tell
Yes.
Glenn, producer Glenn, to pull any B-roll for that because I didn't want to blind the viewers at home and make them relive what we unfortunately had to see for far too long in the past administration. Monica, I'm sure it's hot this weekend in DC. Stay cool and have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. You too.